a solar guy came and knocked on the door. I said, "Hey, we're with such and such." And wow, I was about to call someone. I guess it's you guys' lucky day. Where do I sign? I was such a neat sell for the guy, and he was giving me this. I'm like, "Look, man, why are you
Where do I
overselling me?"
sign?
I'm like, "Where do I sign?" I was about to call someone. So all I want to go through, I said, "You know what? If you say another word, man, I'm gonna call somebody else. Just tell me what to sign." So I have no idea what panels I have on. I didn't even realize it was a brand.
As long as they work, and that's the main thing.
Yeah, it's been a couple of years now.
So, Monica, are you ready to dive in and get some solar panels or
I think
PV
so.
photovoltaic?
I think so. It would save me a lot electric bills.
So we have a raving fan. I don't like to call them. What I don't like
Well,
to call
she is a
them.
raving fan of Luis Miguel.
That's right.
She's
She's the
Luis
president
Miguel.
of his fan club.
Luis Miguel fan club. La Ojana de Luis Miguel.
So I heard you just had an experience. We have a first time home. Is it first time home buyer?
Well, first time home buyer in Hawaii, on Oahu.
She actually.
I have a house over in Guam.
Right.
Oh, in Guam.
hmm
That's on the market.
That
If
is on the
anybody wants to buy
market
it.
now.
So how was your experience? And we'll turn Barbara's mic off. I know Barbara represents you as a buyer. So we'll turn our headset off. You want to throw her under the bus? We're totally
There is
okay with
no
that.
throwing under the bus. Barbara is awesome. It was one of those things that myself and my husband were looking for a house. Maybe about 2 months, And what ended up happening, we gave her a list of what we were looking for, what we weren't looking for, and she was able to compile a list of properties for us to take a look at.
They actually wanted a $700,000 home in Pearl City for $500.
Hang on. Because of the VA, since I'm military veteran, right? I was able to qualify for
Yeah.
$725,000.
It was her
But-
dream home.
It was a dream home, but at the same time, we had to be realistic. You know.
You know, I find that a lot of times. Well, I don't say a lot of buyers. A lot of people that know me, I don't do buyers a lot unless you're selling their place. So, what would you say was probably the most nerve-wracking part of the process?
Nerve wracking.
Was it the agent or the process? Again, we'll just
Or
turn
the
our headset
lender.
off.
No, well, I don't think it was really nerve wracking. I think the most nerve wracking was just the moving part. From moving from the place we were renting for,
Right.
or at least for me, renting 10 years.
It's a transition,
It
right?
is a complete transition. And it reminded me as to why I got out of the military after 14 years. Because I was done of moving every 3 years and picking up the pieces and going. So I think that was the most stressful part. But even at that, it wasn't so stressful because Barbara and the lender, like,
How
they
much
were
they paid you? How much they paid you?
no, they didn't pay me. They didn't pay me. But no, they were able to close it 1 week before the actual purchase contract.
Yeah, we worked
Set.
with a great lender. You know her.
Wow.
And we worked around her schedule because she did travel to Vegas to go meet Luis Miguel.
To
because,
see
you
Luis
know,
Miguel
She
in
has to give him his
concert.
lay and be up front. And
All the time. Give them the
she said,
lays.
okay, as long as you sign before or after these dates, I'm good.
Yes. So
So-
most likely it would have been able to close earlier if I hadn't have gone over to Vegas. But
And you know what I liked about working with you and your husband? You were realistic because you said, okay, you know what? Let's look at something 600,000. So we found something 600,000. You went home, did the math, and said, you know what? We need to be more about 550 or I don't know if we're still going to be able to find what we're looking for, and it's out there. We found it.
All right, Barbara, since Barbara illegally parked, we have someone in the back mirror
Oh,
screaming at us
no.
saying she's got to move her car.
Okay.
So right time we return and Barbara
Oh,
speeds out to
no.
move her car. We'll return more with our raving
Oh,
fan.
we'll bring Tim on.
And so we also have one of our agents that stopped by, Timothy Wilson, and we'll talk about the market. We'll talk about solar and our raving fans. Right time we return. All right. Hey, welcome back to your show. I'm your host, Sylvester Thomas. Barbara had to go run and park her illegally parked car. Our new co-host for the meantime will be Timothy Wilson. Welcome to the show, Tim.
Thank you, Celeste.
So, our raving fan.
yes.
Since Barbara's gone, now you can talk and be truthful about it. No, Barbara's a great agent, though. What advice would you give a first-time home buyer?
I think definitely look at your budget. 100% look at the budget, and not only for the loan, not only for the lender fees, the closing costs, it would be the moving also. So if you're going to hire people to move you out of the place that you're renting, get that quote. Also get the quote as to any cleaners that you're going to be using when you leave that property. And that'll include like carpet cleaning, any kind of repairs you have to make. So basically just budget. I think more than anything else, the crucial part is going to be making sure you have the money you need in reserve to be able to cover any and all costs or surprises that might come up.
Because I think a lot of people understand that even though a VA loan is no money down, there's still money involved in the process of moving, like you just mentioned, you know. So, how many homes do you guys look at total?
We actually looked at maybe about five
You were
homes.
too easy. You shouldn't have at least
5
20, 30, you know.
No,
And then go back to
no,
the first one. You know?
No, but that's the thing. The beauty out of my part, at least, was that because of the home buying experience in Guam, I already knew that feeling. When you get that feeling inside the pit of your stomach that you just know this is it, then you don't need to waste your time anywhere else. You already know this is it. Now let's make a plan to be able to get this. And
Were
that's
there
it.
multiple offers put in, or were you guys the only offer?
We were actually the only offer at that time, at that point in time, because I believe it'd been on the market maybe about 30 days already. So I guess one of the other beneficial things was that the person that was selling was a veteran himself. So it's kind of, you know, going from one veteran to another veteran. So that helped out.
And you brought up a key point. It's kind of lead us into the market update portion. When you say Mililani, you said 30 days on the market. Back about 9-10 months ago, if you said Mililani, it might have been 30 minutes on the market. So for the people out there listening, the market is changing. So a lot of people, it's becoming a buyer's market. It really is. So you really bought it at apex time where it's a good time to buy because now you have more leverage to negotiate prices and everything else. And statistics show that the prices are coming down. They're about 4% below pace of last year. Now the king of it all is still that we're still low on inventory here in Hawaii. But at the same time, we're at a 6-month inventory versus this time last year we're at a 3-month. Now what does that mean? So in other words, if there was never another house built, we'll take a 6 month to go and have all the homes built. Versus before it was 3 months. So again, it was supply and demand. As most people know, the interest rates are creeping up, which causes a little bit of that. But at the same time, oh, you should have been bought then. You should have bought during the crash.
It was hard. Hang on. It was hard during that time because I'd just gotten out of the military in 2011. So 2008, I was on board destroyer, and we were forward deployed in the Gulf.
Oh, so you
So-
can't buy on the border
So
with destroyer.
well, when you're over Persian Gulf, you can't really do much sale, looking at homes or purchasing or anything. And when I got out, then the fun part was trying to qualify for a loan because they said, well, we need proof of employment. Well, I'm going to be getting out in 2 months. I can't give you proof of employment after that. I can't get hired. Who knows if I'm going to re-enlist? So it was very hard for me to be able to get anything. At that point in time, I'd actually qualified for a $200,000 loan. That's like nothing.
You can get a parking stall.
Right? That was nothing. So that's why it was not the right time for me. And the place that I was renting, again, the key thing when I got out the military, I didn't want to move anymore. So I was just asking the person I was renting from, can I just buy this? Can I just buy this over and over and over again? And they said no. So I figured, well, I guess cannot now. We'll just see when it happens. And then I got married, and then I got the husband, and then, okay, let's do this. And
She got a battle plan.
I got a battle plan in the works again.
So where did you meet Barbara at?
Oh, so I met Barbara and you, actually, over at an open house.
Oh,
Right up the
the
street.
Godfather's house.
Yes, the
Right
Godfathers.
up
It's
the
in
street.
escrow now. Yes.
Yeah, everybody knows .com. We always have a name for the house. So if you're one of our clients listening, yeah, we have a name for your house too. It's a nickname. There's a reason we call it the Godfather's house.
Yep. We even have a dollhouse for you.
So well, I'm glad your experience was, a pleasant experience, because a lot of times it's about personality when it comes to buyers, and whether or not there's a good relationship with an agent, and it comes down to trust. So I'm glad it was a good experience, at least what you're saying on the air. You can take it
No,
off the air.
definitely. No, 100%. What made it the selling point right there was that she knew who Luis Miguel was.
Oh, that's what it was.
Oh, there you go.
Oh, that's why you were with her, not me. Okay, got it.
Google.
I still
Just
got to
kidding.
Google Luis
She was
Miguel.
the right one.
Yeah. Tim, you know who Luis Miguel is?
I do not. So she would have bypassed me too.
Tim's got the Spanish hair going on in here. He don't know
Right,
who
he
Luis
looks
Miguel
Puerto
is.
Rican
Yeah.
today.
And he looks Puerto Rican today. He doesn't know who Luis Miguel is.
Have to spread the gospel. Let me spread the word of Luis Miguel. Luis Miguel is a Mexican singer. He's been singing since he was 8 years old. The man is like 48 years old now, and he's got a huge following, generations that follow him.
I will have to look him up.
Yes.
Hey, Google. We can Google
He's,
anything.
he's a
right?
Mexican Elvis.
Yes.
Ah.
Elvis/Frank Sinatra.
Yeah, I like Frank Sinatra better.
I do remember that story now in the Godfather's house when he talked about Luis Miguel. Hey, so we're gonna talk a little bit about the market, real estate stories. I know Tim just kind of walked in. Tim, again, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Actually, I have two separate teams that just joined. Actually, the first two teams that actually came under Soldier to Soldier Hawaii. So I'm gonna allow you guys a minute here to just kind of talk about your team and the concept and your beliefs. We'll start off with Tim here, and then we'll go to Barbara. So Tim, what's the name of your team?
The name of my team is Home Choice Hawaii.
How'd you come up with that name?
Good question. My wife and I was sitting around just talking, and we threw out a few names. But Home Choice Hawaii seemed to stick. And actually, we were just playing around different logo designs, and every time it just came back to Home Choice Hawaii. I actually forgot what the other ones were, but Home Choice just kind of stuck. It kind of rung with us.
So we have Home Choice Hawaii, and we have.
And Tim, you're also a veteran, or you currently serving, or you served? Or?
I am retired. Newly
Retired.
retired.
You're too young to retire. Both of you.
I was a couple of years ago. I don't even know
As
when
of
it was
December,
now.
yeah, I finished up 26 and a half years in the Army, and it's been a good ride. And now, contracting and doing real estate at the same time.
Perfect. And island to island, I kind of went off of Sylvester's Soldier to Soldier, so I thought, okay, let's go island to island. And
I almost got sued over that name.
I don't think you can sue over island. And then so when I mentioned to Sylvester I had a business plan, he said, "Do you have a business plan or a marketing plan?" I'm like, "Okay, I have a marketing plan." And so we went with that. And he's like, "Okay, you got to find a logo." So one day I saw the Moke Islands. So I said, okay, that'll be my logo, because I don't think you can copyright the landmark, right? Like the Moke Islands. I guess we'll find out. So I had our professional photographer take a picture of it, and so I don't have to steal somebody else's photo. I bought mine, okay? I didn't download it off the internet, and that's the logo. Then so the marketing plan is 1%. You list with us for 1%, and we give you 100% full service listing, because with a lot of the flat fee brokerages, a misconcept is that we don't offer full service, which we do. If anything more, because we do radio, television, social media, correct?
And it will be correct. And we have a raving buyer to prove that. Did you see the difference between Barbara's service and another agent from another company would consider it full service?
Well,
I don't even know what it means anymore, to be honest
Well,
with you.
no, let's say trillion%, because remember I bought the house in Guam.
Right.
So compare and contrast the agents and the carrying and everything like that. You have 100%, 110% with Barbara, because she actually pays attention to what you're saying. It's not saying, oh, here's some listings, go to open houses, and there you go.
Man, so that's how I do it.
No.
I shouldn't do it that way.
If
That's
you're
my
a
buyer's problem.
If you're a buyer, you gotta target what it is they're looking for, right? So.
And another good point is you have to target both buyers what they're both looking for.
Right.
Yes.
Right? Because you wanted a nice kitchen and an office space, and he wanted outdoor space. So we
Yes.
found a combination of both within your price range. So yeah.
So who's the decision maker in that point? 'Cause you never find the perfect for whether it's the kitchen, whether it's the garage, or
Right.
the bathroom.
Well, it's just negotiating. I mean, that's the point of marriage, right? Marriage, you gotta negotiate somehow, some way.
All right, I'm gonna tell you. How long you been married?
1 year.
Well,
1 year.
1 year. You're still a newlywed. You're not married yet.
And that's okay for this process right now. That was perfect.
All right, right time we return, I hear the music in my ear. We're gonna talk a little bit about marriage, a little bit, and a little about real estate. We're gonna talk about the market. Right time we return. There's how many steering wheels in a car?
One.
So you can only one person can drive. The only reason I say that is because there's always somebody that's, and I realize this when I go into the house, I always identify that person that's the decision maker.
Mm-hmm. Or the backseat driver.
Or the backseat driver.
There's always a decision maker person. Where, for instance, say 3 years from now, you guys are ready to go sell your house. Someone's gonna
Mm-hmm.
call. It either be you or either be your husband that calls and say, hey, I want to, hopefully call Barbara and say, hey, I want to sell your house. You know, I want to sell my house. And I said it because you always identify that, at least I do. That's like the first thing I look for. Or who's going to be the person that I need to, that's going to make the decision.
Right.
And they might have already negotiated that before, but it's still that person that's relaying that decision. You know, again, congratulations on your marriage.
Thank you.
I don't even know.
Who do you find is usually the decision maker?
Oh, it depends.
It depends.
Really?
Yeah, it really
just
does.
depends.
Yeah, it does.
But the sad thing is that when it's the female, it's like the female's like really dominant. You know, like overly dominant. You know.
That's true.
Yeah.
I'm not even gonna say no. That's true.
Yeah, it's like overly dominant. The female is so not a bad thing. I'm just saying. Normally, if it's the wife, they're very dominant.
So I can tell when the wife is very dominant because the husband will call me later and say, help me out with this.
See, what happened was.
So even like Charles, one of the new agents that came on when he did his first deal, the wife was the decision maker, and she was very thorough, very dominant. Charles called me, hey man,
Oh, that's right. She came on the show.
yeah, she came on the show. She was a raving fan also when Charles sold her home.
And she admitted.
Yeah, she admitted it, so that tells you right there. So we're gonna kind of wrap the show. We got about 4 more minutes before we kind of close today's show out. Anybody got any real estate stories they want to share that happened this month? Yeah, we don't call clients' name or anything. Any stories out there?
Well, we just were in escrow with one of our properties, and they just submitted the J1 inspection, and it's a day late, so they passed their inspection period for requests for repairs. I mean, that's a story. It shouldn't happen.
Well, again, if you're the buyer,
Mm-hmm.
you should be staying on that timeline also. Don't necessarily expect your agent, because really think about it. They're past the J1 inspection. If you closely look at the contract, which most buyers probably don't,
Right,
they depend on their agent to be able to find details.
right.
And then they probably say, that's why I hired you. No, not really, because you didn't pay the agent. The seller kind of paid them. So sometimes, because all agents are not the same. So with that being said, they passed the inspection period. So now all that stuff that they probably want to fix is no longer negotiable.
Right.
Because now the seller can be like, you already passed the period. So based off the contract, it says you accept the property as is because you didn't request anything.
Right.
So if you're out there listening to it, you think about buying a house, make sure you still put it on yourself. That's just me. I'm always about accountability. That you look at the contract, that you're keeping track of the timeline, and making sure your agents are doing the right thing. Because not all agents are the same.
Right.
You got anything, Tim? You always have a story. You always call me in the middle of the night, so I know you got something.
Oh yeah, I got one now. It's actually related to what we're talking about. So, having your sellers understand the market and how the market is changing. I probably had that conversation 4 or 5 times this week with different owners. I'm in contract with, so I have one owner with 2 listings. One listing is geared to come off because they just don't understand that the market is changing, and they don't want to accept that because the other house has received 3 offers already. So now we're in escrow with the 3rd offer that came in. So not being able to adapt to the market or the information that I'm giving them is really difficult for this client, and that's okay. But it's an education process for them and for myself. So I always look at it as an opportunity to learn and grow, and that maybe I didn't communicate that well to this client so that he's aware that this market is changing, and it will continue to change. Whether it's me or another listing agent, the market is going to change, whether it goes up or down. But currently, I agree with you. It is a buyer's market. It's probably going to be here for a little while before it turns back into a seller's market.
And so we have a buyer here just to say that. You say you looked at 5 homes, right?
Yes.
So there's 4 other homeowners probably wondering why you didn't pick their home.
Well, because of the cost. It didn't meet our budget requirements. That's
Yes,
what
so-
at the end of the day.
So if it wasn't cost, would you have picked the home you had, say if all the costs were the same? Because like anybody, you like things that are a little different. It may be the location, it may be whatever, reason you picked to have that certain home. So we got 1 more minute before we wrap up. Barbara, what's going on in Hawaii? Or anybody, what's going on in Hawaii?
Yeah,
That's good.
what's going on, people? Let's see. Of course, Eat the Streets is October 26th in Kaga'ako. Oktoberfest, that's coming up the end of October. What do you got, Tim?
We got Fall Family Movie Night at IPA in Kapolei this weekend. Come out and join.
Yeah, so you're a baller, people that expensive school, yeah. My kids go to public schools.
Oh, and if you surf, the October 29th through November 9th is the Vans HIC Pro Sunset Beach competition. So I didn't know this, but you have to qualify in this competition to be in the Triple Crown.
Oh wow.
Oh, nice.
Awesome.
Anything you know that's going on in Hawaii?
Hispanic heritage.
That's right.
On Saturday. Unfortunately, I won't be able to make, but Luis Miguel. That's
Oh my God, you and
We
Luis
have to
Miguel.
get Luis Miguel here on Oahu to
On
give a
Oahu.
concert. That's the goal.
Bring Luis to IPA
Oh, I will try.
because we're watching Coco.
Oh, there you go.
Oh, I love that movie, Coco.
Well, that's what's going on in Hawaii. Thank you guys for tuning in to today's radio show. I'm your host, Sylvester Thomas.
And Barbara DeLuca.
We have one of our agents,
Tim Wilson.
and then we have our raving fan.
Monica Nunez.
Until next week, Hawaii, more lunch plates, mahalo,
And aloha.
and aloha.
Yeah.